We are so happy to have you here at St. Paul University in Ottawa at the Center for Safeguarding Minors and Vulnerable Persons. And you did a very interesting research in Ukraine about violence and children. Could you give some major points? If you want me to remember something later, what would the points you would like to stress?
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for the question. So first of all, we want to know if the statistic in Ukraine is the same like in Europe or in the United States. Because we have no institutional data in Ukraine, so they are very different. So our research was divided into two parts. The first part was about sexual education, how people, when people like know about sexual education, when was the first sexual experience, how does it work, yeah, and if they need sexual education, if they hope the sexual education for the educational system of Ukraine, and so on. And the second part was about sexual experience in the childhood and sexual harmful. So
So what did you find about the notion of sexual violence? I read something that I found quite astonishing about that.
Yeah, so now we know that 23% of Ukrainian adults people have some experience of sexual violence before they turn 18. And we also know that 4% of people were raped until they turn 18. So we also know that Ukrainian people cannot believe that the perpetrators is someone whom the victim knows. And we also have a lot of myth in Ukraine, like that the pornography is okay, sexual educational content or something like this. So we also ask people how can the sexual education looks like, and give them the different themes to the different like ages, and they can choose the priorities. So in that way we have a possible sexual education model which we can develop and propose to the state educational system.
Because as I understood till now, there is no sexual education in schools.
Yeah, just anatomy.
Just anatomy, yes. So I also saw in your biography that you made programs for police and so. Can you tell something about that?
Yeah, after our research, we became also data about trust to different institutions, and we asked people who is responsible for sexual education and for violence prevention. So people said that it is parents in most of the cases, in 93% of cases, but also they said about teachers, about doctors, about psychologists, about police, and so on. So we try to teach that institution what the prevention of sexual violence means, and what is their role, how to see the victim, how to help, which question to ask. And we also made some like workshop and started to create the a safeguarding policy to each institution. So some of them are finished, like charge safeguarding policy, and it is approved, and some of them are in progress.
So interesting. So I also saw in your research that you looked at trust. And I saw, in fact, that trust, there was much trust in the church, while in many other countries, the church lost a lot of trust because of the sexual abuse scandals. how could you explain, how do you see that in Ukraine there is still much trust in the church?
It is interesting because the church was forbidden until 1990. So after the end of Soviet Union, the church was something new, and it brings a lot of hope. So a lot of people are going to the church in Ukraine, and we asked people, can you just tell us the place where you can leave children without adults? And a lot of people said that church is that place. A lot, it means 54% in the whole Ukraine. And if we are talking about the Western Ukraine, it is 72% of people. Western Ukraine is more Catholic or Greek Catholic, and the rest of Ukraine is more Orthodox. So it means the church can make a big influence to the level of domestic violence and to the level of sexual violence and so on. And we also are working on different programs for clergy, how to do this, how to speak with like fathers who beat the children or something like this.
So I'm still wondering why in rest of Ukraine there is more trust in the church, Greek Orthodox, you said, in the east is Russian Orthodox.
Yeah.
Why is there less trust in Russian Orthodox church, you think? Yeah.
I think it's not like I'm not sure that it will be like truly answer, so it's only my opinion, but I think that it's because of history. So a lot of people were destroyed and killed in the Eastern Ukraine during the 20th century, but a lot of people from Western Ukraine were going abroad during the Second World War. So the people which were escaped abroad, they just saved the culture of church and religion. And then after the independence of Ukraine, they bring it back.
So thank you. So I hear that there was already work done. You did already work at your institute about safeguarding. However, this horrible thing of the war came in, and you actually are questioning or are having the question, is safeguarding possible in times of war? So how would you comment on that?
That's interesting time now, because we are speaking during the war, and nobody knows what would it be in the next week or months. So we stopped prevention because we have a lot of intervention now. So that like all society is traumatized because of violence, and the level of violence is higher and higher every day. So now we can just listen to the people and plan some future after the war. During the war, the safeguarding of children is not possible, I think, because if we talk to children about borders, about trust and so on, and the next day they see on the TV or hear from her parents what is like Russians making with another people in Ukraine, they cannot feel safe. It is not a safe environment. So we have a lot of work after the war.
So thank you. I wish you the very best in your work, which is very important, and the best for your country. Thank you.